Hi and welcome to Z Games. Recorded live at 4ZZZ Studios in Brisbane and broadcast nationally over the Community Radio Network, Z Games brings you the latest gaming news, reviews and interviews from across Australia and around the world.
Welcome once again to another exciting episode of Z Games, your favourite radio program and mine, dealing with all the news, reviews and what have yous that occur in the gaming industry. In Australia, we are coming to you live from the 4ZZZ Studios in Brisbane. You might be listening to us around the nation on the Community Radio Network. I am Lee, manning the machine once again. Razor.
Hey.
Ms. Candy Payne.
Hi.
Jodie McGregor.
Hello.
And Alana Pierce.
Hi.
Razor, what is happening on this episode?
This week, Alana will be talking about LEGO Dimensions, one of the many LEGO games. This is the latest one.
Yeah, and it's the first one to use the Toy to Life gimmick where you actually have physical LEGO characters that you put on your LEGO portal and then they jump into the game.
Sweet. And before that, we'll be talking to Lucky Dip, who were the winners of the 48-hour game-making challenge that was held a couple of weeks ago. They won with their entry Dune Raiders, so excited to talk to them all about that. But before all of that, let's get this episode started as usual with the week in gaming news headlines. Candy?
Thanks, Razor. Sony is cutting the price of the PlayStation 4 in the US by $50, bringing the console in line with the cost of the Xbox One at US $349. This follows a price cut of a similar amount in Japan last month. No word yet on a local price cut, but this is a solid indicator that we may receive one in the near future.
Sweet.
Yep. Bungie's space shooter Destiny is undergoing major changes this week, with the version 2.1 update introducing microtransactions. Among the purchasable items are brand new dancing emotes.
So the deal there is that they're no longer releasing big downloadable packages and they're going to make all their money until Destiny 2 purely through selling new hats and fancy dances. The first dance that went on sale today is the Carlton dance from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Are you serious? Oh my God.
I probably would buy those.
Oh my God. I'd buy it just for that one alone.
Yes.
I don't do a lot of microtransactioning, but dances?
Carlton.
Yeah.
The end.
And Destiny, if not about all, the shooting is only, dancing is the only thing that's left.
It's the only way for you to even interact with anyone, really.
Yeah.
So you do it constantly.
This is a very canny financial decision on their part.
As an aside, can you copyright a dance? Like the Macarena, is that someone's property or is it public domain? Does anyone know?
I don't think that you can copyright an action that a human can make,
Because how would someone profit from it anyway, outside of this particular weird instance?
That's
when in
true.
the past has someone made money from dancing?
I don't know. I was just thinking about applying for a copyright on the walking action. I'd be rich.
You would have to
Walking and
prove that
running.
you were the first one to actually come up with
Okay,
walking.
that's more difficult.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't
Because
just
you
go
didn't.
with...
That's why it's difficult.
I mean,
Because
people
it
have
didn't
been
happen.
doing it
Not
for
impossible.
some time, so...
Can you prove that, though?
Yeah, I can Photoshop my head onto a caveman's body.
Yeah, that seems legit.
Yeah.
I think that'll go well for you, Razor.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Give it a try.
I will.
Pursue this.
I'm going to be rich, you guys. Wait and see.
Rich and stupid. Star Citizen, the spacecraft simulator by Wing Commander creator Chris Roberts, has hit a new milestone of 1 million backers. Star Citizen has continually set crowdfunding records since the campaign launched in October 2012, with the current amount sitting at $93 million, making it the biggest crowdfunded project ever by a large margin. The voice cast for the game includes Gary Oldman, Mark Hamill, John Rhys-Davies and Gillian Anderson.
That's where that $93 million is going.
Yeah,
It's all Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
He's at least 90 million.
Yeah.
Do we know what the second most popular crowdfunded project was?
Potato salad.
May have been the potato salad.
No, that was a joke.
It may. That was still $500,000 or something, wasn't it?
It was a lot of money for potato salad, yes.
I know Ukulele broke some kind of Kickstarter goals, and then Shenmue did really well as well.
Yeah. This one in particular is massively over that because they've continued to have their crowdfunding options available post Kickstarter. which is why, because I think they made like $6 million or something through Kickstarter, but most of that has been in like spaceships that people have bought since.
So how did they manage to do that? Because doesn't Kickstarter only give you 30 days?
Yes, but you can still keep funding your project afterwards, just on the side.
Right. So they're not doing it through Kickstarter anymore?
No, they've set up their own sort of side payment thing, and
makes
so
sense.
elements of the game are open, and there are ways that you can purchase stuff to keep going, but it is all still part of the same basic crowdfunding situation.
I feel like that's almost cheating.
Well, it's just continuing to ask for money after your original campaign ended.
Isn't that just like microtransactions, really?
Not really, because I mean we can get into this if you'd like, but
Well, they're not very
Let's do
micro.
it.
Some of them are hundreds of dollars.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. There are people who've spent like thousands of dollars on spaceships that they haven't gotten to play with yet because the game isn't out.
Okay,
Oh my
no
God.
comment.
When it comes to raising money, there's no real cheating. The only thing you can do to cheat is like directly take money from someone's pocket. Apart from that, it's pretty much all fair
That's
games.
stealing.
Yeah.
I mean, cheating on a Kickstarter campaign, there have been a few where they haven't delivered what they promised.
Yeah.
That's kind of cheating.
That's definitely being a jerk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, a rich jerk. So you win some, you lose some, yeah?
Now we are joined by the team of Lucky Dip. With me are Sam,
Hey, how's it
Lindsay, and Samuel. Guys, thanks for joining us. And congratulations on winning the 48-hour game making challenge that was held at the beginning of the month.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Not a problem. You guys were won with the Dune Raiders game.
That's right.
Yeah. How about we start with you telling us about the sweet award-winning Dune Raiders?
Well, it was actually really cool. I was pretty excited how the game kind of turned out. We kind of had little bumps along the way, but overall, I was pretty excited about it.
So what were the words we threw at you?
So
We came up with
So the words were thief,
Yep.
swallow, and
collapse.
collapse. That's the one. Yeah. So it was actually a really interesting story. One of the other friends in our group, he also works with me, and we're actually coming up with a couple of ideas for a game prior to the words. So we're coming up with a couple of ideas, and we came up with one that worked really well with thief. So it was like a jewelry store. You capture. I know, like portraits and jewels and stuff, and you got to take them back. And we're like, oh, that would have been so good with the last year words as well. And it was like, oh well, it doesn't really matter. Like we could probably incorporate that kind of idea with any words that would get this year. And when Thief was released, we were just like, no way, seriously? That would be so good. But no, I was pretty excited with the words. So yeah.
So how did you develop your game from those three keywords? Do you remember the creative process, the brainstorming?
Yeah, so basically as soon as the words come up, my mind was racing, and I'm sure everyone else's was too.
Yeah.
And we have a large whiteboard that we take outside somewhere, and kind of everyone's got their pen, and we just jot down ideas and shout out whatever comes to mind.
Gets pretty hectic after a couple of ideas. The board's
Yeah,
pretty much
usually the
black.
first 7 or so we just throw away because they're terrible.
You would just spend
and then
ages.
from there we get a lot of good ideas, and we normally spend maybe 3 or 4 hours just pushing out all these ideas, going, all right, that's a cool one, push it aside, what have we got? And then we just decide on which one to go with.
Can you tell our listeners exactly how one plays Dune Raiders?
So basically, it's like a Red Rover game. So it's 4 players, or up to 4 players, and you start at the bottom of the screen, and you've got to get to the top of the screen, pick up a bunch of gold, get back to the bottom to deposit the gold in your area. First person to get a certain amount of gold wins. And between those 2 points, there's a stretch of desert, which is full of sandworms. Those sandworms are not friendly; they will eat you. So you've got to run around and avoid these worms, and you can shove other players into the worms, and you can dive out of the way of worms or people. And if you're too greedy and you pick up too much gold, then you walk really slowly, and you're basically a very slow-moving target. We found it to be really fun with even just 2 people, and having 4 is really intense.
Yeah. It was really cool with the mechanics as well, because you can shove them into the sandworms when they're about to come up. So, so that was really interesting when
Or
they have
just-
like a bag of gold.
We just gang up on the slowest person.
Yeah, pretty
'Cause
much.
they're getting a bit greedy there.
Yeah, keep shoving him back in while the other one's trying to gather the gold. Yeah, it's actually pretty pretty competitive.
What happens when you've got your idea and then you start building? What do you go to first? Is it everybody all in at once with like artwork and sound, or who does what? Where do you
So
start?
generally, as team leader, we peter out priorities. Myself and the other programmer split out to the sessions we want to do. Usually we try and pick things that won't interact with each other. So this year, he concentrated on all the worms and a lot of the player movement, and I was piecing together the environment and like the interactive title screen and all that side of stuff. And then the three artists, which is Lindsay and then Ryan and Beth, who aren't here, I just kind of leave them to their own devices to sort out which things they're doing.
We kind of pick out who's the strongest in what field. So like Ryan and myself, we were good with like 3D modeling and stuff like that, and the concept art was on Beth's side, as well as like the particle effects and stuff like that. So we kind of delegated pretty well when it came to things like that. So we also like time managed, so the character would take a lot longer than what the worm would, but the worm would still take a massive amount of time. So we just separated that kind of thing. So I would work on the worm, and Ryan would work on the character. So.
And then Samuel here just puts on his headphones and bashes away at his keyboard for 48 hours.
Like a machine.
Well, it's not quite like that. I mean,
That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
At the beginning, I do have to wait for some artistic concepts to pop up before I can really nail what sort of music is going to be prevalent throughout the whole game. And this way, we simplified my task by just making it a single track that's loopable, and that really made the music experience a bit more succinct.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. We kind of collaborate as well with like the 3D models on like what their timing is with their animations, and it works well with like Sam's music and stuff. So, yeah.
You guys mentioned time management before. That's of course a large part of the game. That can really make or break teams, right? Because you've only got 48 hours to deliver a fully functioning game from conception to delivery.
Yes.
So
especially when it's your first year as well.
Yeah. So whose first year was it?
Well, when I started, it was a couple of years ago.
No one in the team this year was their first.
So you got the experience.
We had that kind of built up over time. But when I first started, I didn't really think too much of it. I was just like, oh yeah, we'll be able to make like 3 or 4 levels, couple of bosses for each one, story driven. Yeah, we got this.
Yeah, and the time management really starts at the conception where we have to get the scope right.
Yeah.
And that was something that we learned over the first probably 3 years of actually trying this thing.
Yeah.
I think
kind of developed over time.
I think a lot of teams have the issue where they'll go, all right, we've got a cool idea within an hour of the words. They'll go and start making it, and then throughout the competition they'll add stuff, they'll change things, and it just bloats and bloats and bloats until it's too large to complete.
Yeah.
Whereas we've kind of figured out you spend the extra time at the start and you lock in something and you don't make changes to it at all unless they're really minor, and then you know exactly what you're doing and you can kind of manage it a bit better.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Some of the pro teams this year, I believe 2 of them, and these are teams that have taken time off work as professional games developers to just have fun in this competition. 2 of the teams did not deliver working products, mainly due to scoping problems or just taking on too much, so...
Does that make you feel cool?
Of course.
Makes us feel pretty good.
Was that where that question was going? Because it seemed like it.
It's a good ego boost, but after seeing what they were trying to achieve, especially with all those boxes and physical controllers, it is a bit humbling looking over at what they're actually doing.
So you bumped up to the pro team room now?
I'm not sure what the official wording is. I don't think we're forced to do anything. But I believe after
keep winning award after award every year. That's right.
After taking out 3 awards, I think we probably should go to newly pro. Pro is reserved for obviously people fully in the industry and have been in the industry
Whole
for
team
years.
in the industry, yeah.
But we've got some rivals who did newly pro, and they won newly pro this year, Studio Blimp. So I think they want us to ramp up a bit so
Was
they
that
can.
the spaceship game? Spaceship one, yeah.
So they can compete against us again, basically.
Yeah.
So you guys, of course, won the most prestigious award, the best overall game, but you also took out 2 other awards, right?
So we took out, on top of overall, we took out best graphics, which I believe was probably mostly due to our sandworms, and we took out People's Choice, which is what everyone votes on, like, in a couple of hours after the competition finished. I was really stoked about that one.
Yeah.
It's all right to make 7 judges happy, but to make 50, 60, 70 people coming through want to play your game. That's really, really good.
Yeah, I was actually talking with Ryan afterwards as well, and he actually raised a point that it's really difficult to get both People's Choice and the Judges Award as well. So we're pretty overwhelmed with that kind of thing.
So you please the critics, you please the pros, and you please the people.
The crowds.
Yes, that's something Bon Jovi was never able to do. Sorry, Bon. Okay.
Respects go out.
Now, guys, within the 48-hour span of time that you're allowed to create your game, you obviously have to sleep, you have to eat, go to the bathroom, shower, hopefully.
As much as we could.
As you can. What is the strategy going in? Do you just go all out until you crash, or do you make sure that you have a decent rest before you work?
I feel like the second one would have been good, but it ended up getting the first one, just going all out and crash.
My usual plan in past years has been to go all out initially, because we don't start work till late on the Friday. I'll code into the early hours of Saturday, probably till 5 or 6 a.m., take a 6-hour nap, and then get back into it, and then try and get to bed a bit earlier on the Saturday to wake up early, like to get up at about 7 a.m. on the Sunday to push out the final amounts and be a bit more awake to deal with everyone after we finished.
Right. Yep.
This year that didn't happen. I crashed at maybe 7 a.m. on the Saturday, got up again at 9, and then on the Sunday I was under from maybe 1 till 4. I'm not too sure. I wasn't keeping track of time too much. The only thing I do remember is waking up and having a panic attack because my phone had switched to daylight savings. Because it was on Sydney time.
I see.
A fateful hour.
So I woke up, looked at my phone and thought, no, I've got like an hour less than I thought I had. And then double-checked, and everything was fine.
I'm personally on the time budgeting camp. I just set a bedtime, switch off, 4 hours of sleep, up again, start to go.
Yeah.
I don't know how you guys do this. I would liken this to being on a long-haul flight where you may have very good intentions of getting sleep and then, like, to hell with it. Everybody else around you is making noise and it's, like, bright and whatever. It's just you cannot sleep because for whatever reason your mind is still going.
It gets to that point where you just can't do it anymore. You're like, I really do have to, figure this out. But your body's just so tired. It's just, asking you to go to sleep. You're like, no, just one more hour. But, you do crash even when, with that noise around. So,
I think you need to bring your creative solutions to it. Every year I tend to bring a couple of boxes and a rug, and I throw it over my head as a half cubby house, and I throw a tiny little pedestal fan in there that just blows air on my face.
You just build a fort.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's essentially a blanket fort sitting next to Sam's feet, and I just let the noise disappear as I fall asleep. Yeah.
Listening to your own music while trying to fall asleep.
Crazy antics brought upon by sleep deprivation is a byproduct of these 48-hour game-making challenges. Were you guys witness to or indeed party to any of such antics?
I didn't actually notice all that much this year. That may have been because I wasn't as awake as anyone else was either, but I remember last year there was conga lines and dancing, and there was there was about an hour where 5 people were just sitting around on the floor talking about whatever it is 5 people talk about at 3 a.m. in the morning. I didn't notice too much this year.
Yeah, there was
really.
No squeaky ducks this time, luckily.
Yeah, no
ducks.
People seemed pretty composed.
Ducks.
I wonder what they were talking about on the floor there in that circle.
I think the stereotypical group of people who are high.
Okay. High on game making.
But on game making and on sleep deprivation.
High on game development, yes, and nothing else.
Nothing that would make any sense if you went back and looked at it.
Sleep-deprived conversations.
Yeah, pretty much.
Do you at any point get the chance to walk around and see what other people are working on and then be like, oh, holy shit, theirs is really good, we should change ours? Or
I'm like that every time I get up. I'm just walking around, I see amazing models, 3D models, and landscapes everywhere. I'm like, man. And I walk back to mine and I'll look at it, I'm like, I'm not happy with this. And I always have those decisions to tweak it, redo it all from scratch, or just be deal with it. So it was actually interesting because my friend Ryan, this is his first year in our team specifically. And we were collaborating back and forth on what the design should be, kind of like a Mario style, really cartoony kind of thing. But my artistic style is more towards a realistic, so it was really hard to try and balance that. But it was really good with him being there, kind of helping out with that. So.
I try to make a point of walking around fairly often, mostly just get a break from programming.
Yeah.
But it's good to see what everyone else is doing, where they stand in terms of how far through they are, and kind of like you like to say you don't judge, but you do.
Yeah.
You kind of go, oh, you guys look like you're a bit behind or whatever. Makes you feel a bit better, and then you see someone who's zooming ahead. They've got a playable concept, and you're like, okay, it's fairly balanced. It's good to talk to everyone and get everyone's ideas as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tend to go to a couple of sort of staple tables, people I know or friends I've made throughout the last few years in the competition, and they always impress me, and I always think, what am I doing?
I think the thing we have to remember is we do all this, and then when we're at our table, if you take your eyes away from your screen for a while, you can see everyone else in the other teams doing it, like, to you as well,
Yeah.
and having the same reaction. Like,
Yeah, that's right.
other people's stuff is always going to look better because you always put yourself down
Yeah.
on your own work kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any plans to release Dune Raiders now publicly?
Yes. So I pushed out a really quick fix because the game was in portrait mode. I pushed out a quick release that plays in landscape, but the perspective is off because it's basically just rotated. So the bottom of the screen is now the left of the screen. But we do have plans to do a proper version of it, remake it a bit, polish it up, take away the probably copyright infringing Indiana Jones font.
Yeah, that's a big one.
And then, just basically cover all our bases with that, and then
Maybe
hopefully
change the name
push
to
it out.
Sand Grubs as well. You know?
I think Dune Raiders is all right.
Okay.
What about Indiana Jones? Is that all right?
Fine, yeah.
I think that's covered under
That's
fair use, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, we're definitely looking to release a more polished version of it, whether it's just pushed out there or we try and get it up on Steam or something.
Yeah.
We're pretty keen to do it.
And any words of advice for next year's competitors?
Don't drink energy drinks. Do get your sleep, unlike we did, and
Yeah, sleep is
basically
like core.
treat it more as fun than something to win. Do it because you love doing it, really, more than anything.
If I could add anything, that would be to really spend those first hours planning. Perhaps have dinner before you actually finish coming up with your final idea, and draft many ideas.
Yeah. And crucial, bring your toothbrush.
Yeah, that's a
Bring
big
your
one.
toothbrush.
Deodorant.
And deodorant, yes.
All of your cleanliness
Yeah.
products are required.
Possibly a towel as well,
Yeah.
just in case.
Sam, Samuel, and Lindsay of the 48-Hour Game Making Challenges Lucky Dip team, congratulations once again, and thanks for joining us on the program tonight.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
So, Alana, you've been playing Lego Dimensions,
Yes.
which is the new thing where the Lego toy, you build the thing and then it goes into the video game, and then the thing that you made is in the video game, right?
Yeah.
That was really
Yeah.
descriptive.
Yeah.
You actually have to make them, or do you buy them pre-made?
No, you actually do have to make your little Lego bits. The portal, which they all, all these Toy to Life games have portals that have things that actually read when you've put a figure on it to jump into the game. You have to build like a sort of Lego portal thing on top of it. You don't have to. The game wouldn't know if you didn't. But first 10 minutes of the game stops you from actually doing anything and gives you the instructions on how to build your actual Lego portal. And you have to build a Batmobile. You have to sort of assemble your characters loosely. So I think that that's actually a really nice touch in that you are building everything that you are then putting on that.
Funny
thing.
you should mention portals. There is a portal turret in there that you can play. I saw it at the store the other day. I
Yeah,
got
there is a
bit
portal
excited.
pack.
Yeah.
There is a Simpsons pack. The starter pack comes with Batman, Gandalf, and Wildstyle, who's from the Lego movie. So everything you get beyond that is something that you have to pay quite a bit of money for.
So how much game do you get? Like, how many levels do you get in the game that you buy, the starter pack or whatever?
It's still a very big game. It's, I don't know, I would say the same length as a regular Lego game, and it plays like a regular Lego game, and that, they're pretty basic puzzles that involve smashing things and then pulling a lever. But, I don't know, maybe 10 hours or so. It's just that in that time, there's a lot of stuff that's almost obnoxiously locked away from you, and that you're just constantly reminded of everything that you don't have. Like other items. Just areas you can't access yet that will just have stuff that you don't necessarily need, but it's constantly forced on you to remind you that you don't have it and to make you feel bad about the fact that you don't have everything. And I think this is one of the worst of those Toy to Life things, or toys to bankruptcy, as I'm now calling it, in that it's just, it just tells you constantly that you're not good enough and that you are failing at the universe, basically.
Oh, no.
So in the regular Lego games, you play through them in story mode and unlock all the characters, and then you go back and you can get to all the areas that you couldn't access with the characters you started with. But with this, you have to pay for those.
This works basically exactly the same, except that you don't unlock things, you have to buy the things.
Right.
Yeah, so there's still a lot of replayability in every single level. It's just that you're going to have to buy the characters to be able to do it. So, this in that is no better than any other Lego game. It's effectively the same, but more expensive.
Who are you being guilted into buying?
I'm not going to do it. No, I'm not going to do it.
No, but who are they?
For Doctor Who?
Well, I'm not. I'm actually not going to. I refuse. But the one that seems to be most often mentioned is the witch from The Wizard of Oz, and I honestly think that's because nobody would ever want to actually buy her if you weren't constantly told to. I think she's the first thing that you are told you need to unlock something, and it just seems to happen all the time. Like, it's weighted towards characters that people won't buy anyway.
But she's a cool character.
Yeah, what if you're a Wicked fan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how much those audiences overlap, Lego Dimensions fans and Wicked fans.
Well, I mean, Lego Dimensions has got such a broad fan base since
Probably
they
does.
have all pop culture ever wedged into the same weird slurry.
Can we list everyone who's in this crossover, right? It's Back to the Future and The Simpsons and the DC superheroes.
Scooby-Doo,
Portal.
Doctor Who.
There's a lot.
Yeah,
There's a lot of them.
There's a ridiculous amount.
Mm-hmm.
And that's actually the best thing about the game is how well all of that stuff is tied together. It's just so well written. Like, you start with Batman, so he's always there the whole time. And Batman in the Lego universe is like this idiot.
Because there's two Batmans in this game,
There
right?
are, yes.
Like
who
there's
fight
Lego
about who's
movie
the real
Batman
Batman. Yeah, it's great. But Lego Batman is just like this dumb jock, and he has this issue where he's trying to make logical sense of the TARDIS. And it's just this beautiful thing that could never exist in any other universe because there's all these fictional universes that have just like melded together into this massive pop culture explosion, and it's just so much fun. And in terms of actually playing through those parts of it, it's a lot more rich than all of the other Lego games are because it's really funny and it's really well written, and the creative scenarios that they come up with is just that makes it worth playing alone. But yeah, I'm not willing to actually buy all of the other worlds, which is some of the stuff you can get. So some of them are character packs that you can get that give you 3 separate sets of characters from a certain thing. Others have actual levels that you can buy, and I would think those are the most worthwhile ones, but I haven't bought any, and I really don't want to buy any. But I'm just worried that they're going to come up with something that I can't resist at some point. Like,
Ghostbusters.
they wouldn't, but if they did it with South Park, I'd be like, well, I'm done. I'm buying it.
Yeah, the Ghostbusters one is pretty irresistible. It looks really good.
I know. I think this is my problem. I would get really sucked into this because I just like Lego. And so I would want to go and be collecting all of these little characters. Less for the game, more just to build them and have cool collectibles like Marty McFly on his hoverboard and
they are really cute.
Slimer.
Yeah.
And, I don't know. That's where I feel sorry for parents. That's all I'm going to say.
Lego already get us like that. They've already licensed all of our childhood, and now they're selling it back to us brick by brick.
Yeah.
And now to have that then interact with a very expensive video game where they're all having fun together. Damn them. Damn them.
I feel like I should explain the way that the plot actually works is this bad guy who sounds so much like David Attenborough. I love it. I just love imagining that it's David Attenborough doing the voice acting. He's trying to get the foundational elements, which are things that can... How technical do we want to get here? It's kind of...
He's stealing some Lego stuff,
He's
right?
stealing some bits.
Yeah.
The DC Universe thing is Kryptonite. The Wizard of Oz one is the red slippers. So it's like stuff that if you bring it all together, he can basically control all of the Lego multiverses by bringing them together and being the Overlord.
That sounds suspiciously like a Marvel plot, though.
It
considering
is.
there's
It
no Marvel characters.
certainly is.
Yeah, that's true.
Doesn't matter. We just overlooked that.
Okay.
Totally original concept. And as that happens, he steals a bunch of heroes and locks them up and lets a bunch of villains go to try and help him get that stuff back. But something goes slightly wrong, so a bunch of the universes have just been sort of mishmashed together and things are leaking into one another and everything's just getting real weird and lots of references overlap, but that's what makes it so great. I will just never forget Batman trying to make sense of the TARDIS. It's, there's nothing else that I've ever played or watched or read that has that.
Apart from like Tumblr.
All of fanfic.
Yeah.
Fanfiction, yeah, but I mean, there's no weird sex stuff in LEGO Dimensions, so you're safe. You don't like read half of your Batman Doctor Who fanfiction and then it just suddenly turns into porn. You're safe there. It's consistently
So parents,
G-rated.
safe for kids here.
Yeah,
safe
yeah.
for
Safe
kids.
This is
fan
the-
fiction.
This is the first time that Batman's met Doctor Who and no one started doing it.
Yes, exactly. Humanity has finally accomplished that goal,
Yeah.
and it's really well done, and it actually does make it a total delight to play. In that, I don't imagine there's anything else that I will play ever again that has those kind of overlaps. It's almost hard to explain in how perfectly written it is, but nothing else about the game is particularly strong. The universes are really well designed, and they look like the things that they should be. The Wizard of Oz has the yellow brick road, and it's all laid out really well, but the gameplay's just the same as all the others, and the way that the graphics look all the same as all the others. Nothing's particularly outstanding.
They've mastered what bricks look like now.
Yeah, this is definitely brick.
Yeah.
You can break it for coins somehow.
Yeah, it's interesting because the other Lego games that have come out recently have over-delivered in value. I feel like the Jurassic Park game had all the movies, and that was fun. The Avengers one that's coming out has like all of the Marvel movies in one, so it's a bit
Really?
disappointing.
Well, like
Yeah.
6
of them.
Like of the Phase
That's a
2
lot.
or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, plus some of the TV stuff. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a shame that they sort of blocked you out and put that paywall there.
Yeah,
I see what he did
nice.
there.
Yeah.
I just got it.
Yeah.
Blocked. Ah, great.
Well
But
done,
yeah,
Dad.
it seems like, they came in with that idea and realized how well all of those were doing. We're like, well, you know what? We could probably monetize this.
Maybe
Let's do
someone
it.
has had a look at the absurd value of all of their other games, and they're like, we have to balance this out somehow. Nickel and dime them all.
For people that actually have no idea what we're talking about right now, help us visualize it. When you buy your little characters, I want people to understand what we're talking about when you actually are buying a Lego character, and then how does that suddenly translate on screen and open up worlds from the little physical guy?
I mean, it's frankly kind of poorly done.
It's awful. Never
It's
look
not
at it.
really. You have a Lego figure, just like a regular Lego. What do they call them? The Lego
Minifig.
minifig. Yes, you have a Lego minifig, and then you sit your Lego minifig on a plastic disc. That plastic disc has a little bit of foil inside it that basically contains data that relates to that character. You then put that on a pad that can read that disc, and it recognizes when it's on the pad then transfers it into the game. So it's sort of just you have a figure that you put on a pad and then it pops into the game world. I mean, it's not very exciting.
No, that's magic.
It's-
Like, my toy is now in my video game on my screen. That's magic. If I was 5 years old, that would be the best thing in the world that has ever happened. Like, I have a toy in my hand, and now I can wiggle it around.
I
the
totally
screen.
get the appeal for kids, but to me it was just like, wow, I have to stand up and move this character again.
Okay.
Lego makes you do that so much too.
Whenever you're like, wow, I have to stand up sarcastically, like maybe,
It's like
maybe
every
this is on
5
you
minutes.
and not the
That's
game.
what I think it is, but it's surely that's only appealing to kids. Like when you play a game, you kind of just want to sit there and experience it. This is like, hang on, hold up a sec. You have to move this to this part of the portal pad thing, and it makes you move them around. And I swear, at some points, it is every 5 minutes, and we're like,
Yeah,
I just want to play it.
I was playing Disney Infinity recently with my girlfriend's nephew, and he freaking loved switching the toys out. Like, that was the best part for him. Was
How did you feel about that, though?
I just dealt with it. I'm an adult, right? Like, I know what I'm dealing with. Like, this is a kid's game. I'm playing with a 5-year-old.
Yeah,
Like,
I'll give you that.
like, yeah, it was annoying because I was playing as Spider-Man and now I'm Groot tumbling through the air.
How were you unhappy with being Groot?
No,
What's
that's,
wrong with you?
That's still fine. So it was all good. Like, his joy was immeasurable and mine was perfectly acceptable.
So that makes me think that the target audience for a Lego game, or Lego Dimension specifically, is kids.
Yeah.
Because I hate having to move the characters around. Like, I actually just want the software. Stop making me move stuff.
Yeah.
And they make you do it all the time. But then it's conflicting because are kids these days into Back to the Future?
Well, that's for the parents, right? That's to keep the parents happy.
So
while they're
the
playing with
target
their
audience
kids.
is both, is the idea.
Parents
Yeah.
have the money, so they're going to buy the thing that they feel nostalgia for, but the kids
I
going to
don't
be
think
playing
so.
with it anyway. No, have you
Have
seen
you met
parents?
kids?
Have you? Yeah.
Kids
yeah.
are like, I want this one, and I will murder you if I can't have it.
Yeah, and the parents like, okay, but I'm also getting you the Back to the Future one because
It's
Marty
2015.
Because
yeah,
that's
as if
dope,
you
son.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know what? You know what has happened here, Alana? As the junior member of the Z Games team, you've gotten old and
I have.
cynical.
Maybe I have. I
You
just don't
don't-
like moving if it's unnecessary, okay?
You don't want to play with the toys anymore.
I have more toys than any child. I would be willing to bet money on that. I have more toys
Way to go,
than any
Scrooge.
child ever.
And yet,
I
how
just
often,
don't like moving them.
Well, exactly. How often do you take them off the shelf and play with
They're
them?
far too expensive for that.
So now they're collectible items and
Oh,
figurines, less
no.
than toys.
This is-
yeah, I actually don't
Aw.
really have any
I
figurines.
feel like this
'cause
is a
they
big
fall over.
step for you. This is great.
It's just like the cartoon where Ralph Wolf covers Raggedy Ann and Raggedy Andy in like super glue because he doesn't want like children to play with toys anymore. You remember? It's coming back to you.
That is the plot of the Lego movie.
Yeah, and that as well. Yes. It's the exact
It's
same
exactly
thing.
correct, except that this thing forces you to move them for dumb reasons too. It'll
Why
be like,
should I be able to move my toys? They should stay exactly where they are so I
Yeah.
can look at them.
so I can play the game?
You're the villain from the Lego movie.
I might be. I may actually be Will Ferrell. Yeah.
So are you going to keep buying characters to play, or are you done with it?
I refuse to. It's microtransactions. I'm not gonna do it.
Micro but very expensive transactions.
Yeah, just like super expensive.
How expensive are we talking about?
I mean, I'm not gonna buy any.
They're
But-
between like $24 and $45.
Yeah,
depending on how many
Okay.
a
characters you
world
get.
pack is about $40. I think
Yeah.
it's depending on where you go, but characters can be like $19 to like $29 or so.
Yeah, these are just transactions now.
Mm.
Nothing
Yeah.
micro about that.
Yeah. And they're more expensive than the comparable things that you could get with Disney Infinity and Amiibos and with the Spyro guys as well.
Skylanders.
That's them. Yeah.
Spyro guys.
Close.
Spyro's in there. They leached off his franchise.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
The Lego figures are also, I don't know if this is a valid complaint because they're regular Lego size, but they're the smallest of all of them compared to Disney Infinity, Skylanders, Amiibos. They're the smallest figures. They're just regular Lego size, but it still stands out when you have them
Mm.
all together in it.
You can do stuff.
They are
with them
articulate,
too.
yeah, and
Yeah.
they do come with things like Batman has his batarangs, and
Mm.
Wild Style has that one thing that she carries all the time that I'm still not entirely sure what it is.
What does Superman have? Don't know. That's
I don't have Superman,
A cape.
Oh.
but I.
Well, yeah.
I was going to say Kryptonite, but I feel like he wouldn't have that. That seems unrealistic.
Yeah.
He probably wouldn't carry that around with him.
No. No one wants to
Um,
be healthy.
So yeah, you could play with the Lego figures by themselves as well, and the portal is totally a cool looking thing when you can build it, which is kind of tough. It was actually not easy to build. You definitely had trouble with that and got frustrated.
See,
I
that
had
would
to
be
Did
build
you
the
have to
most
get your
fun
parents to
part.
help?
Had to get parental assistance.
Yeah.
No, I got one of my friends to do it who'd done it before. I was like, I don't understand. He was like, no, it's the slightly larger grey block. I'm like, this one? No, wrong shape. I'm like, God, So I'm just not cut out for that, I guess, for Legoing. But again, really don't like the system. I don't like Toys to Bankruptcy. I think that that's really crappy, and I like that because the last thing I played before this was Skylanders was that I could just have one character like Diablo and make him super badass. You can't do that in Lego Dimensions. But because it does have all of those universes combined, it's one of the funniest, wittiest, most easily digestible fictional cluster of universes that I have ever experienced.
Do you guys see this as slowly replacing Lego? Like, is this the Lego of the future? No, like, think for a second. We're starting with little characters in small packs, but does this have the ability to just keep expanding and suddenly you're buying, like, the entire Simpsons Quickie Mart or something? You know, like,
Yeah, it could.
I feel like this is it for kids
I
and
think
Lego.
Lego's going to be around for a long time.
I think it would go hand in hand with
Yeah.
non-software compatible Lego.
Hmm.
But you could totally end up having a Quickie Mart that you have to put on your portal.
People might just buy them because they like the characters that are on sale.
I wouldn't be surprised if people have
Yeah.
done that with the Lego Dimension stuff because, you know, they're still high quality Lego figures. They're still perfectly well painted, and, you know, I love that Batman has 2 options for his face. And
Is one the angry Batman?
Yes.
Yeah.
And when you take his mask off, there's just like this line so that they can have it so that you can have him without a mask, but when you put the mask on, it looks like he has white eyes. So it's like they've thought ahead. And the figures are quite detailed. So you could totally buy them without using the game at all, and there's value in that. But I don't know. I still feel dirty even slightly supporting anything about the entire concept.
Fair enough.
Okay,
Trying
and
to rob your children. That's what's happening.
And that's the bottom line on Lego Dimensions.
They will make you feel dirty.
Robbing children.
Thank you very much for that, Alana. So it's available for PS4. What else is available on?
PS4, Xbox One, and Wii U. I think it might even be on old gen. I'm not actually sure, though.
Thank you very much. Okay, that's going to bring us to the end of this week's episode of Zed Games, everybody. Thank you very much for listening. It's been fun. We'll be back next week at the same time, of course. You guys next week.
Bye.
See ya.